This video from Dr. Lock. So today we've made a motor with a brush. It seems like an extremely simple thing to do, but surprisingly enough it's actually a little bit more complicated than that. So I bought these motors off eBay. They're about $26 each. I had bought one before. You can see one of my other videos where I've used one of these for my blower in a Toyota Town Ace van. So this is the motor here. And I said to myself, well, these screws are not going to be able to hold it in a bracket. Originally I was going to do a bracket from either side because we have this surface here that we can mount a 90-degree bracket on. So that was the bracket, and I thought, well, I'll put one on this side, I'll put one on that side. And what I thought was is, well, if I drill and tap this, then I don't really need it. And if I upgrade these screws to stainless steel, so these are 3.8 millimeters and this is a 5 millimeter stainless bolt. So surprisingly enough, 1 inch is not the diameter of this shaft here. And of course everybody has a 1 inch drill bit. So basically I had to kind of put it on the mill, and this is 25.8 millimeters, and of course that's not going to work with that, so we have to elongate that. So I'll just give you a quick demonstration. So what I had to do is decide on how I'm going to do this. So these brushes here you can buy from Bunnings. They're $16, call it $17, and I've made it a fairly tight fit, so when I wiggle this off it's going to kind of come off in a way it's probably going to bounce off. So I machined up this little bush here, and how these brushes work is when you buy them from Bunnings they have a hexagonal shaft on them. I'll just wiggle this off. I made it really tight because I didn't want any vibration or any movement. So this is the little part that I made here, and the shaft comes to about there. I can unscrew that and put a screwdriver through there and tighten it up, but it didn't leave a lot of room to actually put this on. I tried it like that. I knew that I had to recess it, so what I did is I drilled it and tapped it, and then I drilled it out there so the shaft actually slides over here, and that works really well. It gives enough surface area. Now these brushes here, I thought, well, get these from Bunnings because you can pick them up, no problems. So I just drilled out the shaft, and then what I did is I drilled that to 12.5 something millimeters, and then I machined this down to suit whatever drill bit that I used at the time. Keep in mind it's an 8mm shaft. There is 8mm, so I do need some material thickness on there for that to actually be okay. So let's put this back together. So it's a 8mm, so M8, but this is by 1 millimeter instead of the typical 1.5, which is a coarser thread. Drilling and tapping these, so I drilled and tapped this plate here, and that holds the motor on just fine, especially with 5mm stainless. And then I just put some Nylox on there. It's never going to vibrate loose, but I had them. I could cut that down a little bit, but I don't really care. So I'm going to put a couple of screws through there so I can bolt it down onto the bench. And it's a 100mm brush. You can buy those 75mm brushes, but I thought, you know what, let's get something that kind of lasts a bit longer. And I do have one of these 100mm brushes that I put on an RC motor that you start the motor with. So I have made it fairly tight. So it just sits in there like that, and as I do it up, it will go on there a bit more. So we'll put this on there, just like that. Now I decided to actually leave a little bit more material out on there, so when that does tighten up, see how that is a little bit more. I can cut that off, but what's the point, because I want surface area to actually push these together to clamp the brush together. So I thought that this was the better alternative. What I'll do is I'll just put that down and I'll put the other nut on there. Okay, back with you. So you can see I've left a bit of material along there, and I thought, well, I'll just use a washer to put the pressure on, and that fits perfectly on there. Then what I'll do is I'll use another washer because I've got enough screw thread, and I'll put that on there. And then I've got the nut itself that came with the motor. And doing it this way means that it's going to clamp everything together. So I'll just grab a 12mm and I'll put something there, and then I'll tighten it up and we'll power it up and see how it goes. Okay, so just tightened it up, little screwdriver in there, and then just tighten it up like that. So because it's a DC motor, it can spin either way, no problems. Let's give it a go. It makes absolutely no noise. It's spinning at a good RPM just there. So what we'll do is we'll just grab a key and we'll buff the key. Okay, unfortunately I can only find a HU 66, but anyhow, we've got that. Let's just do it. So I'm laying into it to hear it. Obviously you don't have to, this is a cut key anyhow. And there we have it. So a little motor made to brush it. Shame you just can't buy these things. Anyhow, that will do just fine for brushing a key. Could put a guard, but honestly, if you need a guard, I don't know if you should be using something like this, to tell you the honest truth. But anyhow, thanks for watching.